So, hello everyone. Unfortunately, I am not Adele, but I'm here to maybe give you some insight into the media space in terms of trends that are happening or things that we look at every day in terms of how we shape our marketing activities. Just a quick survey that I want to do. When you woke up this morning, what was the first thing that you did? Just shout it out. Besides putting your alarm on snooze. Check your phone. Facebook. Drank water. Nice. Anybody else? Looked at your WhatsApp, maybe a bit of Instagram. So as our access to these mobile devices increases over time, it becomes a force of habit, basically, in terms of what we do and how we interact with this medium. So a quick little stat that 59% of millennials, which is people like me, admit to being addicted to social media, and then 62% of them are addicted to instant messaging. So that's basically just talking about the behavior behind what people do on these digital devices, how they rely on them to do a lot of things. It's not the case anymore that you go out, somebody asks you a question, you say, I don't know, you quickly Google it on your phone and you give them an answer. So my talk today is trends in digital media consumption, and that's basically how we interact with these digital platforms across everything from social media to websites to video, etc., and what it's going to look like in the not so distant future. I've got some really cool things that I'd like to share with you today. I'm not going to be talking about trends in the media space that I work with on a day-to-day basis in terms of like programmatic buying and things like that, but hopefully it will inspire you in terms of what you want to do in the future and how you want to do it. So my name is Kimaal Baker. I'm a senior digital strategist at a company called Worldwide Creative. So what that means is I play quite an advisory role to a lot of the clients that we have and put together a marketing plan, however we do it in the digital space, whether it's social media, email, or everything all together, or in terms of their business as well. That's what I do in a nutshell. So that's Worldwide Creative that I spoke about, a full-service digital agency. We're about 50 people at the moment. And we do everything from development to marketing online to managing communities and things like that. And another arm of the business is called Heavy Chef. So Heavy Chef is quite an interesting one. What happened when the business started about 10 years ago is that our CEO, he needed to get some business in, and he needed to get a marquee client in. So right across the road from our offices was the Ferrari dealership in Cape Town. And he thought, what better client to get than Ferrari? So quite obnoxiously, he just walked across the road, knocked on the door, and asked to speak to the marketing manager. And he actually got inside, and he managed to pitch all these lovely things in terms of email, CRM, websites, and whatever. And the marketing manager just kind of sat there and looked at him, looking at his computer, while my CEO, Fred, was going through this whole pitch process. So at the end of it, he just looked up at Fred and he said, I never trust a skinny chef. So Fred was a bit shocked and he didn't know what it meant. So he asked the guy, so he's like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't trust somebody who doesn't practice what they preach. While you've been pitching to me, I've been looking through your website and you don't have all of these wonderful things that you've been talking about. So how can I trust you to do it? So Fred kind of walked out of there with his tail between his legs and had quite a detailed discussion with our MD, whose name is Mike Perk. And they decided that the Heavy Chef philosophy needed to be in everything that they'd done. They needed to eat their own food. They needed to do everything that they were talking about. They needed to be experts in those fields. And what eventually evolved into inviting heavy chefs within the industry to come and speak at our office, it evolved into an actual event that we have on a monthly basis. And we've kind of grown the Heavy Chef brand as a not-for-profit initiative just to kind of educate people in the space. And it's quite a fundamental pillar in the philosophy of Worldwide Creative in terms of what we do. And now today, we're a digital agency, but we've printed a magazine which we distribute every quarter. And it focuses on relevant topics within the industry and so forth. And then we also package that content into the digital space. So why I'm here and to talk about where we are. So just a quick synopsis of where we are in the digital space. about 51% of South Africans have access to the internet. So it's not a very high statistic, but it has grown rapidly over the last couple of years. So from about 2009, we've seen quite a rapid growth in terms of the access to internet in South Africa. And there are a number of reasons behind that, but mainly it's been because of a smartphone. The or an internet-enabled phone, I should rather say. So around about 2009, that's when BlackBerry was very huge. With the BIS service, people could browse the web very cheaply and do whatever they wanted. And it's kind of evolved where it's now become more a Samsung and iPhone market with the BlackBerries and Nokias dropping off. So if we look at mobile phone subscriptions, it's quite a steady growth that we have. But in my opinion, I don't think that's going to continue. It's probably going to plateau a bit. But what we are going to see is the quality of those devices that people are using is going to improve. So internet penetration will still increase, but mobile phone subscriptions, which is about 150% penetration, yeah, that will kind of stay where it is for a while. So at the moment, 36% of all mobile connections in South Africa have 3G or 4G broadband. So that kind of shows you where we are, where the room for growth is. And things that are going to drive that to increase is things like the $30 smartphone. Things are becoming so much more cheaper and accessible that it's going to be so easy for people just to access the web. It's going to become a basic human right, if you can call it that, to access the internet. So a couple more stats. I don't want to harbor on these too much, but mobile connections in South Africa account for 61% of all website traffic. So we've got quite a strong mobile focus in terms of how people view the web and things like that. And it's just something to keep in mind when we are creating a particular digital asset, whether it's an email, whether it's a website. We need to decide how do we optimize that for mobile first, more than anything else. 9 out of 10 people access social media through their mobile phone. So again, it's thinking of that mobile first mentality. And then just a quick view of the largest social media platforms in South Africa. What I wanted to highlight here was YouTube has had a 76% growth, as well as Instagram, 347%, although it's still small. It's a rich media platform, and those are the things to keep in mind in terms of the trend. Your channels such as Facebook and Twitter, they are mass market at the moment, and yes, they do have rich media options, but there are other ways that people want to engage online or they want to interact online. We've got to look at things like the Instagrams, the Snapchats, the Pinterest boards, and things like that. And my last little stat, just to tell you where we are in terms of the digital space, mobile video traffic in South Africa is expected to grow at 73% in the next year. So that's massive. So video is quite a big thing. So looking at some trends, number one is mobile. Mobile is not a trend. Mobile should be everything. Mobile is everything on the internet. So I've listed it as a trend, but I don't want you to view it like that. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was something that Facebook and YouTube have released, which is 360-degree video. What this is on channels such as Facebook and YouTube, you are able to view a video on your phone and you can move it around and you can see everything that's kind of in a 360-degree space. So there are examples where it's a Formula One race with the camera on top of the Formula One car. You can have a whole look around at the guy while he's driving. In this particular example, you could have a look at somebody swimming with the dolphins. So it's a more immersive experience for you. The next thing is live streaming, which Facebook and a new app that's called Periscope are kind of bringing to the fore of the market. What this allows you to do is to run events such as this one, but you could run it through your mobile phone as a mobile streaming thing. And Periscope's closely linked to Twitter, so people can get it there, or it can be done on Facebook. So there are different ways now that things are being done, and it's kind of disconnecting the actual world to the digital world. And we just got to think about how we apply that to certain business situations as well. So whether it's running a Q&A session about your product or launching a product or demonstrating how things work, there are different ways that we can use this sort of technology to kind of connect with our consumers in a way that they don't really do it in an article or a short video. It's more interactive. Something like Periscope, people can comment and you can kind of change as your demonstration goes by. So there's a lot of value in tools and technologies such as this. The second thing that I want to talk about is integration. So what I mean by integration is bringing digital into everything that your business does. No longer is digital a channel, a silo, a department. Digital is now a layer in your business that needs to cater for a lot of different things. Whether you bring that into your product or just to how you manage things, it's pretty much the way to go in the future. So as an example, Tesco in South Korea, they were struggling with market share. They were struggling to get new retail stores, so they couldn't really grow their business as rapidly as what they wanted to. So what they did is they created these digital displays in high traffic volume areas, such as the subway, or where people just walk past every day. And what they did is they just made it look like it was an actual store. It's just a flat image that they put there, and they placed QR codes in each section. So what you could do is walk around with your mobile phone, add items to your basket, and then you could select a delivery time. And then it would either be by the time you get home from work, your stuff has been delivered. So there's now no need to actually go to the shop and do the normal chore of grocery shopping. It can be done while you are commuting. And then in the first year that they did this, there was a 130% increase in sales, online sales. So it shows you that you can't just think of it as a website. It's now where you do certain things and how you do certain things that becomes important. Okay, the next thing is wearable technology. So this is what I mean by integrating digital into your actual products. So things like the jawbone, or can't remember what I've gone blank. Anyway, these fitness tracking apps, something like Google Glass, that Google wanted to bring out. These things all pull through data of what you actually do during the day, and it personalizes your experience in that digital app. Or, for example, Google Glass will show you an experience as you are looking at things by something called augmented reality, or it can pick up data about certain places where you are and things like that. And as a business, you need to start thinking about how do you bring this digital technology into what you do? How can it benefit your customers? The third thing is hyper-personalization. And this is probably one of the biggest trends in digital at the moment, is really creating a personalized experience. There's so much data out there about what people do on the web, or what they do with your product, or what they do with anything, that can all be stored in a CRM, and you can actually create a very personalized either web experience by serving them different content, by making them recommendations on certain products to buy based on their purchase patterns. So as an example, a retailer in the USA, they did some quite clever data mining, and they were able to predict what people were actually going to buy in the future. And there was a big court case that came about because they started marketing pregnancy products to an underage girl, and the dad kicked up a real fuss. Turns out 3 months later she was actually pregnant, and that's what they did just in terms of the things that she was buying. So there's so much value that you can extract from all of this, that we really need to start thinking about how we collect it, how we apply resources to it, so that we can actually get the best value out of it. So in terms of hyper-personalization, I want to talk about artificial intelligence. So there was a movie called Her that was released a few years ago. And what it was about is this new fancy operating system that came to the market that had its own personality, and it learned things about you, and it could kind of interact with you almost like a human being. And it could do digital tasks for you as you wanted. It seemed a bit far-fetched. Like, are we really going to get to that level? But there's a product that is going to be released soon called Cubic. And what Cubic does is it connects all of your smart devices, so your wearable technology, your air conditioner at home, connects to your Twitter account, to your smartwatch, and you can talk to it and it responds to you. And it can actually, it'll say, you need to wear a tie today for your meeting at 9 o'clock, or you should take a jacket, it's going to be cold outside today. And you can actually ask it questions, and it can pull information from the World Wide Web very easily, very quickly, very smartly. But in addition to that, each one has its own personality. So it starts telling you a joke every now and then based on what it knows you like. Or if you tell it you've got plans to go to dinner with someone, then it'll say, okay, don't forget about missing Game of Thrones. And you say, okay, well, I hope so-and-so doesn't die. And then it asks you, would you like to tweet that? And if you say yes, it'll tweet it for you. So that's the extent of the technology where we are at the moment. It's not perfected yet, but we're getting there very quickly. And it's not going to be much longer until we actually get into a space where we are in, where there's an operating system that really you can marry. It's not very exciting, but. Okay, the fifth trend I want to talk about is virtual reality. And this is something that is really going to change the way we interact with visual media or interactive media such as video or something like that. Google have brought out something called Google Cardboard, and you can buy this in South Africa for 110 Rand. What it is, you assemble this little box and you pop your cell phone in there and you download whatever app it is that has the virtual reality stuff enabled, and you are able to experience it just by using your phone and this little cardboard device. So to explain it to you practically, what Paul McCartney did was at one of his concerts, he allowed people to get an on-stage view using virtual reality of his actual concerts live. And he just charged $10 a song, so you don't even have to leave your home anymore to actually go to a concert and experience it as if you're kind of there. So you don't get the atmosphere of the crowd and people jumping next to you, but it's just showing you how we can bring this to expand our reach in terms of our customers and things like that. So if it's in entertainment, it's quite easy. For certain products, it might be a little bit more difficult. Lastly, I want to talk about interaction. So interaction, that's what we try and do in the digital space. We want people to interact with our brand. It's how we get brand recall. It's how we do things like that. There's something called interactive video. So what you can do with interactive video is you can click on a bunch of various spots within the video, and it changes the storyline based on your selection. So, for example, Nivea had an ad that they launched, and you could literally click on everything, and that changed the outcome of the date, or you could actually change the outcome of this particular date. So whether you wanted the guy in the far corner to interrupt, or if you wanted the food to fall on the floor, like things like that happen, and it's just creating more engagement using an online tool. So yes, it's a very expensive production, but for a brand like Nivea, it can be worth it. And also you get people engaging with that video over and over again, and then products top of mind. The last part of interaction is probably the most exciting one from my end, is something called Project Soli, which is run by Google. They are in the process of developing sort of radar technology with a small device. And what it does is it looks at your interactions of your hand and how they can integrate that into products. So no more do you need an actual touch screen to do things. As you can see there, pressing a button is as easy as that. And it can be controlled with a device in your pocket or something like that. So this is where we're going. If you think of Minority Report with Tom Cruise in the movie moving things around, this is pretty much almost there. And they're very close to doing it. I don't know when it will ever be released or put into a product, but they have a team that is focusing on doing this at the moment. So what next? So the next couple of slides, I just want to talk about how you can apply these sort of things that I've spoken about. They're very high-level trends. They're not easy to produce right at this point in time, but that skill set will develop over the next couple of years and it will become a lot more affordable. But I want you to think about it, how you can apply it to the brands that you work on or the businesses that you work in. So the first thing, just to reiterate, is to be digital. In everything that you do, think digital. It's how people consume media. It's how they interact with media and brands. Customer service centers are becoming smaller. Twitter customer service is getting bigger. You got to think of how you can bring various facets of your business into the digital space. The next one is to be flexible. So because it's a new space that we're working in, rapid technology developments, you have to be flexible in your approach. You can't commit a whole department to do certain things. You need to try and test, see what works for you. It's not a cookie cutter approach to what you do. Thirdly, probably most important, is to be mobile. Everybody has a mobile device. you need to engage with them on their mobile device. It's a more personal device. They expect a lot from a mobile device. So you need to be mobile in everything you do. Responsive websites or mobile apps. It's kind of where your thinking needs to be. You need to be global. No longer is your target market just in Cape Town. People who can access you via digital channels, they are from all over the world. You need to make sure that you can be reached from there. And then lastly, you need to be innovative. You need to innovate in the space to be different. At the moment, we've got something which we call the attention economy. People don't have time to read your blog. They want to read 3 lines out of it and then get the gist of it and move on. Or they get bombarded with so many banner ads throughout the day that they don't even see them anymore. So you have to be innovative to actually catch their attention. And that's what you do with creativity. So in terms of being innovative, you have to try new things, you need to test, and you need to optimize. And I leave you with that today. Thank you very much.